virtually every person in this room has seen the Caprica pilot by now, but if you happen to wander in here thinking it was How to Draw Monsters or Klingon Lifestyles, which are both true events, here's the deal. It's set 58 years before BSG, and Caprica is this story of two families, the Adamas and the Greystones, who are brought together by this terrorist tragedy. And it's really about the birth of the Cylon race and arguably the ideological birth of William Adama, how that boy becomes this kick-ass admiral. So Ron and David, I want to start with you guys. I want you two to describe Caprica. It's been called a family drama, it's a soap opera, sci-fi, Dallas, it's a prequel, but it's genuinely sci-fi. You're the daddies, and Jane, you're a mommy. How would you guys describe it?
Well, I think first and foremost, it is a character drama. It's serialized, and that's why we sort of tend to use the shorthand of saying it's like a primetime soap, because it's continuing character stories. It's not an action-adventure series like Battlestar was. It's planet-based. It's definitely set in a science fiction universe. I mean, it's about, ultimately, the story's about the creation of, robots. So it sort of has all those things in it, and it's the beginning of the mythology that informed all of Battlestar. But, we went out of our way to make sure that you could approach Caprica and not be completely, you didn't have to be a diehard Battlestar fan in order to enjoy it, because it is set 58 years in the past, and there's no direct, we're not following any specific storyline from Battlestar and flowing it back into Caprica. So say, unlike the Star Wars prequels, which all lead very directly into the three original trilogies, the prequels all set up them in very specific ways. Caprica is set further in the past, and it's its own set of characters, and the relationships between Caprica and Battlestar are somewhat diffuse. I mean, you can really approach them as separate projects.
Yeah, the relationship between the two shows is very tangential. I think there are Easter eggs for fans along the way. I think as fans of Battlestar watch Caprica, there are occasional nods and winks to Battlestar and to a certain knowledge that I think the fans will have about where the drama is going. But as Ron said, it's very true. The show's been designed at its very root to not require you to bring Battlestar baggage to it. It really is its own thing.
Isai, Ron just said you don't have to be a diehard BSG fan to appreciate Caprica, and I wonder about your background with sci-fi. Did you watch Battlestar before Caprica came into your life?
I had no real, I knew, I'd heard about it, and I wasn't as aware of how great a show and how big a fan base, a loyal fan base it had until after. So this is a universe I've stumbled happily into, and so no, I wasn't a pre-existing fan.
Tell me about your most eye-opening experience stumbling into this world of loyal, invested fans so far.
Well, when you have people, that you went to high school look you up, and, whether it's on one of those social network sites and say, what you're up against, like what you have like the fate of, Adamas. I mean, do you realize? I'm like, it's just a job, right? I'm like, no, it's a religion. Somebody said, you're going to become an action figure. Okay. And I realized, wow, the universe is much bigger than I thought.
Ron, you've said that you feel like your mission is to ask questions, to ask the audience to think about things, and uncomfortable things, and to question their own assumptions. So what questions are you and David and Jane asking of us with Caprica?
Well, I think there's a lot of questions about our own society, about where we're headed with artificial intelligence, and also just, in our own morality. And I think Caprica, like Battlestar, is an opportunity to sort of look at our society through a different prism. And in many ways, Caprica is closer to our world than Battlestar was. Battlestar was literally a post-apocalyptic show. I mean, everything that they dealt with was sort of seen through that prism. And Caprica, the society is still alive, is still thriving, it doesn't realize the fall that it's headed towards. So we can really play more direct correlations between what's going on in their world and ours. But at the heart, again, it's all about these characters, and I think what we like to do as storytellers is to say, what would our characters do in these complicated situations, and try to be as truthful in in those answers as we possibly can.
Yeah, the point of intersection between Battlestar and Caprica that I think is most universal is the one that derives from the great science fiction annals before us, which is asking the question, what does it mean to be human? And that will continue to pervade the show. It really is the central theme of the show. And I think like Battlestar, the answers are never what you expect them to be. And we find ourselves with strange bedfellows in terms of protagonists and antagonists, and asking yourself if you're rooting for the right side. And those themes, I think, are the ways in which the show really is very similar to Battlestar. And I think in a way it's being presented in a milieu or in a venue that probably has the potential for a little more mass appeal, because as Ron said, it is more like our society, and it's really Rome before the fall. And there's a lot about that that's really kind of fun, and all this decadence and hedonism and naughtiness.
It might also have more mass appeal